Hi, it's Sophie from the Spellcraft collection. I'm going to show you how to use PIXIE powders because some of you have bought them recently or you might have seen them on Hochanda, and I thought I'd just show you how to use them basically and how to create a scene with them. Okay, so I'm going to use this particular one called Firework Burst because it's got lots of different colours in it. Some of them are more sort of single coloured ones, but this one's quite an interesting one, so I thought I'd just show you what you have to do. Okay, so you start by tapping very gently and getting a few sort of light little bits of the powder onto the bit of paper. Okay, I'll probably put a bit too much on, but that's okay, because I've done another one anyway. And then you spray with a spray. This one is just one that I've used, I just got from Superdrug basically. It's just a light spray mist bottle, and especially at this time of year, all the holiday sort of travel bottles that you can get, and then you just spray like that and you get quite a funky sort of background. If you want to make it sort of streak a little bit, you can always sort of hold it so that the water runs, and you can create quite cool patterns. And then you'd heat it up with your heat gun. So I'm just going to do it very slightly, and that also makes the PIXIE powders move. Right, so instead of making you watch me dry that completely, what I'm going to do is put that to one side and show you one that I made earlier. So if I just put that on the floor and then wipe this off, okay, and I'll just show you how I built like a little scene over the top. Okie dokie. So here's one I did earlier, and as you can see I dried it, which looks quite cool. And I'm going to do like a little scene. So I've been using these free stamps actually that came with one of the card making magazines, and I have to say I use it all the time because it's got like a little deer, little tree scenes. Okay, so here I go. I'm going to use my Adirondack, so I'm going to stamp some trees in the background first of all. So I'm going to add some green. It's all going to be, because these are free stamps, they obviously don't stamp perhaps as well as some, so that's fine though, because it kind of creates like a distressed kind of look. So I'm going to stamp some trees in the background. Actually, the more I use these stamps, the better they get, to be fair. So remember my technique of, if I got round to it, I could have perhaps sanded these, they might have done better. Okay, so there's the tree background. Okay, I'm then going to, over the top of that, I used StazOn. I found StazOn was a bit better than anything else I used on these. They didn't seem to stamp terribly well, so if I use StazOn, hopefully. Now, do the branches go upwards or downwards? Possibly downwards, so I'm going to make them go downwards. So they're kind of like the forefront of the card. So I'm going to put one there. And then I'm going to stamp them again with StazOn. This is a Timber Brown StazOn. And I'm going to stamp that at the front again, like so. I might have got these branches upside down, but that's okay. So I've done like a set of trees with sort of branches in the foreground. Okay. I'm then going to stamp the little deer. He's going to have to be in black so that he could sort of stand out, so I'm going to use VersaFine. Okay. And stamp him sort of at the front. Sort of there. Okay, so there he is. And finally, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slightly dry that. What I'm going to do over the top, and I think it might be possibly a little bit too subtle, but I'm going to have a go. I'm going to use like the little sort of snowflake stamp. I'm going to use my trusty anti-static bag first of all, so that flakes don't go anywhere extra. Okay, so do that. I'm then going to get a teeny weeny little snowflake stamp. I'm going to use VersaFine. Okay, and I'm going to stamp it all over this scene. And before, what I did do is I did white, but actually I've suddenly thought it might look better if I use like a sort of kaleidoscope kind of colour. So let's just see how it turns out. I'm almost convinced that these branches are definitely upside down, but who cares? That's the joy. Okay, so I can't exactly see where I've stamped, but let's just see. It'll be fun to see where it's appeared from. So I've got a bit of copy paper. I've got Stampendous Kaleidoscope. This is basically like a clear stamp embossing pad, but with like glittery holographic bits in it. So if I just pour that all over, because I'm not entirely sure where I've stamped it, bash it off, pour back the excess back into the embossing powder holder, waft it about a bit like you do, put the lid on and then heat it up, the embossing powder. Just do that. And all I've done really is to just kind of have, in fact what it's done, which is quite interesting, is it's actually made some of the PIXIE powders come through, which is quite cool actually. I'm rather liking that. It's got quite a good glittery element on it. And then what I've done is, the die that I've used for this particular card is the Sue Wilson Austrian collection, the Innsbruck. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut with the largest oval die. Just going to put a teeny tiny bit of masking tape, which is nowhere to be found. No, it's there. Okie dokie, so I'm just going to put a bit of masking tape, decide which part of the scene I like the best, stick a bit of masking tape down, okay, run it through my trusty Cuttlebug, so get that. Always love a bit of die cutting, can't beat a bit of die cutting. Peel it carefully off. And what you've ended up with is the oval base, a beautifully cut sort of kind of slightly, I don't know, almost Aurora Borealis kind of look about it. So I've done that, and then what I did was I created a frame, okay, which is over here somewhere. Here it is. What I did was with this frame is that I cut the outside die. Yeah, here we go. So they cut the outside die of the Innsbruck, cut the outside, I also cut the inside, and then I also used this beautiful decorative element on the inside. So, and then I glittered it with Cosmic Shimmer glitter jewels. But I also did another layer underneath, because you don't want to see part of the scene coming through the little gaps. It doesn't look quite right. So you get your trusty Cosmic Shimmer glue, bash it about a bit because there's not much left in there. Okay, so if I just go all the way around there, like so, and put this over the top of my scene now. Okay, like so. Move it slightly around. Try and move it so that the oval actually fits. Okay. So that's the scene, sort of inside a sort of glittery section. And then all I did was, on the card itself, I used the same holographic embossing powder to stamp some of the little snowflakes. And then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick a bit of double-sided foam onto the bottom. And I'm going to have to use a pair of scissors with this. So cut a bit of the foam, like so, Do a bit more. And maybe one more at the edge. Okay, peel this off. I've also stamped a greeting in the corner as well. Just take that off. And then stamp it, and then to attach it to the front of my card the right way up, like so. And then finally I cut out a few of the olive tree, Sue Wilson olive tree dies, olive branches I think they're called. So I'm just going to put one on the corner there, one on the corner there, at the top, and one at the bottom there, slightly overlapping the seam. Okay, I might put a bit of glue on the leaves there as well. Just there. Okay, and then that's it really. So what I've done is I've created a card using PIXIE powders as a background, and holographic embossing powder to give a slight shine where perhaps the snowflakes might be falling. Okay, so that's it. So hopefully you enjoyed that. And remember, the PIXIE powders, most of them are single coloured ones. It's just this particular one, which is called Firework Burst, which is the one that has got lots of different colours in it. It's this one here. Okay, so as you can see, it has lots of colours. But and if you need me to buy in any PIXIE powders for you, just ask. But there's the finished card, and obviously you probably go to town more. But that's what I'm going to do today. Okay, so thanks very much for watching, and there'll be another Techniques Tuesday video coming up the following Tuesday. Bye!